this, and this. It's very clear. So it will be useless, if not funny, for you to appeal something if it's really very clear, the rule. And the majority floor leader and his deputies are always on top of the situation. They are supposed to have this at heart. Alam nila halos lahat itong mga rules, minimemorize na ito. And they are the ones that guide the chair into making the rulings. If, for example, there is still a doubt or there is too much question and all that, the chair can always say, session, recess for a few minutes.
Okay, to let calmer heads.
The chair usually, you usually see the presiding officer go down, talk to the majority. Paano ba ito pare? They talk among themselves. And the minority leader is also called upon to join in. Because the minority leader also is for orderly procedure. If there is no orderly procedure, the minority will not get its share of time. So, he is very cooperative in the sense of following all these rules. The minority leader or the leader of the minority usually also has a very deep knowledge of the rules. That is the only way also he can question with authority whenever the majority does not follow the rule. Okay. But then, ultimately, we follow the rule of the majority.
Now, you know, one reason we invited you, Congressman Ortega, was besides your experience in the House of Representatives, you've been in the local governments, and there is a provincial board also that follows its own procedures. Are they radically different?
No. Basically the same, except that there are rules that are adapted more to the particular body. Like before, our local government code, the governor presides over the provincial board. The vice governor is a member of the provincial board, just like any board member, except that, according to some, he goes to church once in a while to light a candle. Ibig sabihin nun, nag-aantay lang. Aside from that, he's an ordinary member of the board. But then, nung napasa po yung ating local government code noong 1991, the setup in the provincial board has been different now. It is now the vice governor who is the presiding officer of the provincial board, no longer the governor. I was vice governor of La Union for 6 years. And I never presided over a session.
And then by the time you became governor, you could no longer preside either.
Yes. I was governor for 6 years, from 2001 to 2007, and I never presided over the provincial board. Why? Because now the law provides the vice governor is the presiding officer.
Now, we saved the best for last. We're going to go back, not for more gavel banging with Representative Ortega, but to ask him about constitutional amendments and how the procedures might be slightly different in that particular case.
Books featured by The Explainer are available on shelves or on order at a different bookstore.
This is Explainer. Tonight we've been talking about parliamentary procedure with Representative Ortega of La Union. And so let's continue. Jackie, we have a question from the floor.
Yes, Manolo. Rochelle here has a question.
Good evening, sir. These are very interesting and very informative topics, but I would like to ask, what good or what are the advantages given to the public when they are when they are learning regarding these things?
Okay, about parliamentary procedure, anong relevance niya sa atin?
Yes.
Congressman.
Ang parliamentary procedure, hindi lang natin kinakailangan sa Kongreso. Kinakailangan yan sa maski anong asembleya o anong organisasyon. Maski na magpulong-pulong lang sa barangay, kung walang mga rules na sinusunod, siyempre, ang mangyayari niyan, confusion. 2 people, 3 people might want to talk at the same time. There has to be order. Nang ganon, wala tayong matatapos o magagawa kung hindi natin susundin itong mga procedure na ito. para sa inyong mga estudyante, malay mo, bukas, maring member ka ng municipal council of your town. Maybe 1 year from now, you will be a board member in your province. 2 years from now, maybe you'll be congresswoman. Di mabuti yung meron ka ng ideya ng procedure na ganito at nang pumasok ka sa meeting, alam mo rin ang tungkulin mo, alam mo rin ang karapatan mo.
If you noticed earlier, nung nagsimula tayo, we pointed out that there are two rights being guaranteed by parliamentary procedure. Unang-una, yung mga karapatan ng minoriya. Diba? Hindi ka pwedeng lagyan ng busal. Diba? Kailangan pwede kang magsalita, pwede mo questionin lahat ng mga ginagawa ng mga kinatawan o yung mga bossing dun sa isang grupo. But also, something we tend to forget, I think, the majority rules. Kahit paano, kung yun ang mayoriya, sila ang masusunod dahil one day, pag ang minority ay siyang magiging ang majority sa susunod, gusto rin mo na rin naman yun ang mangyayari. So, it's actually a democracy at work in terms of rules. Ngayon, ang delikado lang dito, kailangan ka mag-aral. Kung hindi mo pag-aaralan yung mga patakaran, then syempre magmumukhang may diktador o kaya parang niloloko lang ang tao. Now, I wanted to ask you, Congressman, at this point. We were discussing I'm sad it has to be in a very quick way how it's done in the House of Representatives and in many ways in the Senate. But this was all in terms of legislation.
Yes.
Now, you've been in the hot seat, and in many ways there have been some congressmen who were trying to make you completely irrelevant by taking it out of your committee's hands in terms of constitutional amendments. What is the difference, or is there a different process that's being followed here?
Ganito yan. Sa amendment ng konstitusyon, ayon sa saligang batas natin ngayon, ay may tatlong paraan kung paano mag-propose ng amendment. We have the People's Initiative, which we tried last time. You remember that? Yung pirma-pirma. But it was shut down by the Supreme Court. So at this point in time, until Congress has passed an enabling law that will cover all the objections mentioned by the Supreme Court, let us forget it for the time being. Dalawang paraan ngayon ang naiiwan, ang Constitutional Convention o ang Constituent Assembly. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Constitutional Convention po, gaya nung nangyari nung 1971, nagkaroon ng eleksyon ng delegado pumunta sa convention na sila po ang gumawa ng proposal ng bagong konstitusyon. Kung hindi naman, may pahintulot naman ang ating batas, ang ating konstitusyon mismo may pahintulot naman na kung hindi natatawag ng convention, pwede rin naman ang Kongreso mismo ang gumawa na ng proposal na amendahan ang konstitusyon natin. But bear in mind, in the ultimate analysis, it is not Congress, it is not the convention that will amend our constitution. Lahat po nitong prosesong ito, dadaan sa isang tulay, ang tawag ko niyan sa tulay na yan, plebisito.
Kung saan ang taong bayan
ang taong bayan ngayon ang magsasabi, amendahan ba natin ang konstitusyon o hindi? Doon sa proposal na ginawa, pagpalagay lang natin to, ang proposal po, magpapalit tayo ng gobyerno from a presidential to a parliamentary form. Hindi kongreso, hindi konbensyon ang magsasabi oo o hindi. Ang taong bayan, doon sa plebisito, doon dadaan, whether it is done through a convention or through a constituent assembly, dadaan at dadaan dyan sa tulay na yan. Pagdating dyan sa tulay, kayo po, mga butante ng bayan, ang magsasabi, amendahan, palitan o hindi palitan. Kung anuman ang nakakarami, rule of the majority, yun po ang masusunod.
So if we're talking about who gets to propose the amendments to the Constitution, what is all this big debate taking place? You had a committee meeting of your committee this afternoon. Before the show started, you said everyone decided to cool off for Christmas.
For Christmas.
So, bakbakan na lang pagkatapos
Peace on earth during
Peace on
Christmas
earth.
time.
But there were proposals to bypass your committee altogether. So how are these procedural questions
I
resolved?
do not believe so, Manono. I think it was just talk. right now we cannot say for a fact that there is an intention to bypass the committee. I haven't heard anyone say so.
Okay.
What the